and welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, if it's your first time on this channel today, then welcome. My name is Emily Rowell. I am a Hatha and Yin yoga instructor, and this channel has all kinds of things related to yoga. Today we have a full-length practice. I haven't done one of these for a little while on this channel, so I'm excited to be sharing this one with you today. This is an energizing yoga flow. We're going to be using one yoga brick. So if you have one, go and grab it. If you don't have one, don't worry too much. You can definitely adapt most of the practice to not using a brick. So don't be discouraged if you don't have one. This will be a fairly strong and energetic practice, but it is open to beginners, whatever level of experience you're at. Give it a go and just see how you get on. So let's begin by coming to a comfortable seated position, Sukhasana or easy pose. If you're comfortable with the legs crossed, start there. If it's a little tough on the hips, grab a cushion and sit your bum up onto the cushion instead. Bring your hands to rest on your knees or in your lap. Take a little shuffle back of the shoulders. Sit down through the sit bones. Feel the sit bones connecting to the ground. And feel as if you're being pulled up by a piece of string through the centre of your head. So the crown of the head lifts up. And we can then feel the length of the spine, from the base of the spine that's in contact with the ground, all the way up into the crown of the head. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the forehead. Just gently loosening the jaw by separating the top and bottom rows of teeth. Start to notice your breathing through the nose as long as that's comfortable for you today. Try and relax your belly and let your breath move down as if you were breathing into your belly. So we don't need to be sucking the belly in, holding it in here. Let it relax. And as you breathe deeply into the lungs, you might feel your belly expand, grow with the inhalation. And then on the exhalation, there's a contraction. The belly button pulls back in. Slow, easy breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Dropping into this moment, to the space that you're in, and letting go of anything else. The practice of yoga is not just about moving through these different postures, strengthening and stretching the body. That's just one of the 8 limbs of yoga. We're also here to practice the other 7. One of those being the practice of dharana, meaning focused concentration. So that's bringing your attention, your focus, to a single point, in this case, to the breath. So watch your breath as it comes in, and watch your breath as it moves out. And whenever you notice that your mind has become distracted during this practice, notice where your thoughts took you, what it was that distracted and took your attention away, and then return to observing your breath. Now, keeping the shoulders relaxed, bring your palms together in front of your heart in Anjali Mudra, this prayer-like gesture. And we'll set our intention for this practice to be careful and kind with our bodies, to practice ahimsa, which is one of the yamas, the first limb of yoga. Ahimsa means non-harming. So if anything starts to cause you harm or pain, any short, sharp pain in the body, particularly being mindful of the lower back today, then I'd like you to come out of the pose that you're in and let your body rest. Never pushing past something that feels painful. Let's take a slow, easy breath in through the nose This time gently sighing out through the mouth. When you're ready, you can open your eyes if you had them closed. Start to sit a little taller. Imagine that piece of string again just pulling you back up. Lovely. And then interlace the fingers, press your palms forwards and up to the ceiling. Big stretch up, take a breath in. Exhale, open the arms out. Bring them down to the ground just behind you so you can lean into them, just taking some of the weight out of the hips and the lower back. Then we'll switch over the cross of the legs. See if you can do it hands-free. Coming back up to sit. So half moon pose or Ardha Chandrasana is what we're working towards in this practice. And what we need to do to prepare for that is to warm up our core and also stretch out and open along the sides of the body. So we'll take the right hand down to the ground. In fact, that's my left hand. I'll go with you. Left hand down to the ground. Sometimes I like to mirror, but I think it's easier if we all go the same way. Otherwise you might get confused. Left hand down, right hand is going to lift up. Reach straight up to the ceiling, just as far as you can. Take a big breath in. And then exhale, let this arm come over. Leaning into the left hand and just gently bending at the elbow so your head can drop. There's no tension around the shoulder. And we should feel a nice stretch along the right side of the body. Now we'll take a little movement here today. Bring the hand forwards a little bit and down, and then take it back up. Take the arm over your head so you're looking up to the ceiling. Doing that a couple of times. There's no way of getting this wrong. It's just about moving through this sort of action in a way that feels nice. So find a little bit of backwards and forwards movement. And keep breathing. Lovely. And then bringing this hand straight up towards the ceiling again. Big breath in as you reach up. Exhale, let it come down to rest. And we'll go the other way. So leaning into the right hand now. Left hand lifts up to the ceiling. Big stretch up, take a breath in. Exhale, take it over. Soften the right elbow, soften the right shoulder down. Let your head get nice and heavy. Breathing into the left side of the body now. And then taking that gentle movement forwards with the arm, bring it out in front of you a little bit, and then take it back up and over your head. Play around with that. Again, you really can't get it wrong. There's no such thing as getting it right or getting it wrong when it comes to yoga asana, the postures. It's just about feeling into your body and seeing what works and what feels right to you. Let's take another breath in, reaching back up to the ceiling. Exhale, let the hand come down. Lovely. Now we'll move through to tabletop position. So find your way onto your hands and knees, spread out the fingers, place the hands under the shoulders. Check that your knees are hip distance apart, and then we'll move into cat and cow. So inhale as you look forwards, as you lift your head. Exhale as you round your back and drop your head down. Keep that going at your own pace. Breathing in as you arch your back and lift the head. Exhale as you lift your back towards the ceiling, pressing into the hands, dropping the head. Start to move with your breath. Really try and synchronize the pace of your movement to the pace of your breathing. We can sometimes feel an urge to rush through cat and cow, to speed up the breath and speed up the movement. So I'd like you to try and keep it slow, keep it steady today. And coming back to a neutral position with the spine. We'll tuck under the toes and sit back into a foot and toe stretch. So walk your hands back towards your knees. Start by leaning into the hands and just get the toes nicely tucked under so you can start to feel a stretch through the toes, maybe through the soles of the feet. If that feels quite intense already, stay with it and breathe here. If If you feel that you need to go a little further to feel the stretch, then sit back and bring your hands to your thighs. Relax the shoulders down, soften through the jaw again. Deepen the breath here. I know this can feel really challenging. We won't be staying here too long. Let's do a couple of breaths where we exhale through the mouth. It's a nice way to release some tension, to release some heat from the body. So slow breath in through the nose. Exhale, drop the jaw, sighing the breath out. 2 more like that. Very nice. Then come forwards onto your hands again. Now for the really nice bit, release the toes and give them a wiggle around behind you. And roll the ankles, do some big circles with your ankles. I don't know about you, but mine are clicking and crunching. You can probably hear it. Go in one direction a few times and then reverse it and go the opposite way. Really nice way of warming up and opening the feet and the lower legs. Cool. Then let the feet come back down to the mat. Make sure you've still got your fingers spread wide and hands under your shoulders. We'll start by swinging the left foot just off the mat, so the knee stays in position but the left foot swings off the mat. We reach the right foot down to the end of the mat and right hand up to the ceiling. So we're in a supported version of side plank. Look down and make sure your hand is under your shoulder, that it feels like it's supporting you well. And we're aiming to get the hand, knee and foot that are on the ground into a straight line. Now this is quite a similar shape to what we'll be coming into for half moon pose, but we're going to be standing instead of on the knee. If you're not familiar with that pose, don't worry, we will get to it when we get to it. But to build up some strength through the lower back and through the core, ready for that posture, I'm going to do a little movement here, flexing the right foot. So what I mean by flexing is not pointing the toes like this, but flexing like this. And then try as you inhale, lifting that foot up, keeping it flexed. Take a breath in as you come up and then exhale, let the foot come back down. Trying to keep the legs straight as you go. Keep that going with your breath just a couple more times. Breathing in, lifting the heel, the foot. Breathing out, bringing it down. If it's twingy or painful in the lower back, just keep the foot on the ground and try and hold this pose instead. But if it's still feeling safe for you, let's go for one more. Breathing in, lifting the foot up. Breathing out, bringing it down. Well done. Then bring this right hand back down to the mat. Bring the right knee down, back to tabletop position where we started. Take a breath. Then we'll go the other way. So we're swinging the right foot off the mat, reaching the left foot down to the, knocking my brick over. Left foot down to the end of the mat, left hand lifts up to the ceiling. Checking those points of contact with the ground again, so bring the right hand directly under your shoulder. That hand, knee and foot that are on the ground are trying to form a straight line. Left hand is actively reaching up. Let your head be fairly free here, we don't need to tense up around the neck. Then try flexing the left foot. See how it feels on this side to lift that foot up. If that's too much, keep it on the ground. Be honest with yourself. Practice ahimsa, non-harming. If it hurts your lower back, don't do it. If it feels safe, we're going to breathe in, lifting the foot up, keeping the legs straight. Breathe out, bringing the foot down to the mat. We'll do 2 more like that. Nice, then bringing the left hand down to the mat, bring the knee down, and let's come into a child's pose. Taking the knees a little wider, bringing the big toes together. Sit back towards the heels, rest your forehead either onto the mat or onto your hands. Relax your jaw now and bring your attention back to your breath. Okay, when you're ready, we're coming up onto the hands and the knees and into downward facing dog. So fingers are spread out. We tuck the toes, a little bit of space between the feet, lifting the hips up high, dangling the head between the arms, and we'll start to pedal through the feet. Breathing as you go. Take your time, find any movement that feels good here. Rocking the hips a little bit side to side, coming up onto the toes and then sinking the heels down, shaking out the head. Let's feel into this posture. Okay, then we're going to step the right foot forwards into a lunge. You can either step straight through or you can drop to the knees first and then give this right foot a little hand so you can come to the front this way. Either way, coming into a low lunge with the right foot forward, the knee stacked over the heel. Push into that front foot, lift yourself up, find your balance, and then send the arms up to the ceiling. Spread out the fingers. And try sinking down into this a little bit, pushing the knee forwards, lifting your heart. If you feel quite steady in terms of balance, you could even try lifting your gaze and looking up. Let's take another breath in. As you exhale, hands are coming down to the mat. We're stepping into plank from there. Always have the option to lower the knees for half plank instead. Keep the arms strong and straight. Crown of the head reaching forwards. Take a breath in. As you exhale, coming down to the belly, slowly bending the elbows to release your body to the ground. Point your toes back and lift into cobra. Inhale, lift the chest, look forwards. Exhale, releasing back down. Tuck the toes. Let's come back up to downward facing dog. Again, pedaling the feet, finding a bit of movement, and finding your breath, finding a nice easy rhythm for the breath. And then we're stepping the left foot forwards into a lunge. So again, you can just step it straight through, or you can drop to the knees first, and then bring the left foot forwards. Coming up, find your balance. And then send the arms up. If it's a little wobbly, make sure you're not on a tight rope with the front foot and the back knee. Stay on two separate tracks on the mat. That will help you with your balance. Pushing that knee forwards just a little bit, lifting up through the chest, maybe looking up slightly if you feel you've got your balance. Take a breath in. Exhale, hands are coming down to the mat. We're going to step through to plank again. Inhale. Exhale, lowering to the belly. You can always drop your knees on the way. Take it with control. Point the toes back. Inhale, lift into cobra. Exhale to release. Coming back through to downward facing dog. Okay, stepping forwards with the right foot again. We're going to come to warrior two. So we're turning the back toes out to 90 degrees. We press down into the front foot to lift up, taking the arms wide. So palms are facing down, hands are reaching towards the front and back of the mat. We have a bend in the right knee, left leg is straight. And we want to, when we look at this right knee, it wants to be going kind of in line with the big toe. So if it's drifting into the left, try and squeeze your right glute and keep that hip open. Shoulders relax down. We keep a little awareness through the core, through the center by pulling the lower belly button, or pulling the lower belly or the belly button in and back. Tailbone, the base of the spine is reaching down towards the ground. So we're not tilting the pelvis forwards like this. but keeping the pelvis nice and neutral. And we breathe. So there's a lot to think about here. Turn your right palm to face forwards now. Reach forwards with the right hand and into reverse warrior. So right hand lifts towards the ceiling, left hand onto the back leg. Big side stretch. Keep those legs strong. Breathing in. As you exhale, windmill the arms forwards and around the front foot. So bringing fingertips to the ground, swivel on that back foot, and then stepping through to plank from there. Well done. Inhale. Exhale to lower down to the belly. Coming to Locust Pose this time. So we point the toes back, bring your arms down by the sides of your body, reach back with the fingertips, squeeze the shoulder blades together to help you lift your chest, lift your shoulders. Point your toes and let the legs lift as well. Here for 3 breaths. If this one hurts the lower back, come down and rest instead. Squeeze the thighs together, feel your glutes working. One last breath. Gently release, bring your hands under your shoulders, lifting up onto the knees and back into child's pose, or any comfortable resting pose for you. So you can take the knees wide, big toes together, come down and rest. Come back to your breath. When you're ready, coming back up to tabletop position and then back to downward facing dog. Find your breath. Releasing out through the mouth whenever you feel like it, whenever it feels necessary. Okay, then we're stepping forwards with the left foot now for warrior 2. So again, you can always drop the knees first and then step the foot through. Bring it up to the top of the mat, pivot on the back foot so it turns out to 90 degrees. Press into your left foot to help you lift. Open the arms out. So the left knee is bent now, right leg is straight. We want the knee to be going out in line with the big toe. And we want to think about squeezing in from the core. So pulling up and in from the belly button, tucking in the lower rib cage as well. It's as if the top of the hips and the bottom of the rib cage are trying to squeeze in together. For some people that will help and that will make sense. If it doesn't work for you, that cue, then don't worry about it. Just try and keep a little bit of an awareness, sort of feeling of bracing the lower abdominals. Palms are facing down as we spread out through the fingers, sinking down into that front knee. One more breath. Then turn the front palm to face up, reach forwards, and then up to the ceiling, reverse warrior. Right hand comes onto the back leg, staying strong through the legs here. Try and keep that front knee bent if you can. Take a breath in. Exhale, windmill the arms forwards. Fingertips come to the ground around the front foot. We pivot on the back toes and step through to plank. Inhale. Exhale, lowering down to the belly. Nice and slow, no rush. Point the toes, bring your arms down by your sides for Locust Pose. Inhale as you lift the chest, lift the shoulders, reach back with the fingertips. Point the toes and lift the legs. 3 breaths here. And then releasing down, bring the hands under the shoulders, gently lifting up onto the knees and coming back to a resting pose. So maybe child's pose, or maybe it's just more comfortable for you to come to a seated position as your resting pose. You can decide. Take another breath there. And then just come up into a seated position if you were in child's pose. For this next sequence, we're going to use the brick. So if you want to grab your brick and place it up right at the front of your mat. And then when you're ready, coming back through to downward facing dog. Take a breath there, get settled. Then stepping the right foot forwards for warrior two. As you step that right foot forwards, bring your brick, stand it on its tallest edge like this, and place it on the inside of your foot. Then we turn the toes out at the back to 90 degrees, press down through the front foot, and we lift up and open into warrior two. Now stay as you are. I'm going to just turn around so you can see me a little bit better for this first round. So we've got the right knee bent, left leg straight, and that brick is just about touching the inside of the foot. Turning your head so you're looking out into the distance past your right fingertips. Shoulders relax down. Turn the palm to face up. Reach forwards with that right hand and back into reverse warrior again. Just one breath in this time. As you exhale, bring this arm forwards and bring the forearm onto your thigh. Left hand lifts up to the ceiling. I'm going to just shuffle the back foot in a little bit closer. Into extended side angle pose. Now you can try bringing either your fingertips or your palm down onto that brick and then really open your chest, so as if you were trying to turn your chest to look up towards the ceiling. Keep your head nice and neutral though, just looking forwards or down to the ground. Breathe. Okay, now it's time to try half moon pose. So what we're going to do is bring this left hand onto the hip, press down into your right foot and actually pick up your brick as you come up to stand. Okay, so we've got the brick in the right hand. If you haven't got a brick, don't worry about it. Instead of bringing the brick to the ground in a moment, you're just going to bring your fingertips to the ground instead. So left hand on the hip, right hand on the brick. That almost rhymes. Now shuffle this back foot in a little bit closer, so we're in a slightly shorter stance. Bend into the right knee again, reach down and place the brick about a foot in front of your foot. And then take it slightly over to the right, so towards the right side of your mat. Now we're going to try leaning into that brick, or if you've not got a brick, you're bringing your fingertips down, so it's just a little bit more of a stretch. Leaning into the brick and slowly flexing that left foot. I'm going to start to bring the left foot up. Again, opening the chest, lifting the left shoulder. Just looking down to the ground, see how you feel with the balance here. And we're into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Flex that foot and lift through the heel. See if you can then try lifting the left hand towards the ceiling with the palm open, facing away from you. Find your breath. Remember to come out if it's hurting, especially the lower back. One more breath here. Then bring the hand back to the hip. Bend into your standing leg so you can gently place your left foot onto the ground. Leave the brick where it is and just come back up to stand. Well done. How did you get on? Even if it's really wobbly, don't worry about it. It's just a practice. It doesn't have to be perfect the first time you try it. It might be that this is just a posture that you choose not to practice again. But it's always good to try out these more challenging asanas. Okay, so bringing the feet out wide now, we'll just take a gentle forward fold. So make sure your feet are fairly level. Let the toes turn in just slightly. Take a breath in and then exhale, hinge forwards from the hips. You can either keep the hands on the hips or let your arms dangle down. Let your breath slow down here. Just keep it nice and soft. It doesn't have to be a strict, active forward fold. Let it be just gentle and dangly. Lovely. And then taking the hands back onto the hips, slowly lifting your head, come all the way back up to stand. Well done. Turn the right toes back out, open out the arms, so we're back into warrior two, bending that right knee. And then just bring the back arm up and over, so we windmill the hands around the front foot and step back through to plank from there. Inhale, exhale down to the belly. Pointing the toes back, just coming into cobra. Again, nice and easy. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, releasing down. Coming up onto the knees and taking a moment in a resting pose, child's pose or a seated position, whatever you feel like. And when you're ready, slowly lifting back onto the hands and the knees. Just make sure your brick is again just at the top of your mat, ready for trying that pose on the other side. And then we'll lift back up into downward facing dog when you're ready. Again, you stay as you are, but I'm going to turn around on my mat so that I'm going to be facing you again as we go to the other side. So we're stepping forwards with the left foot, finding warrior two. Big step through with the left foot. Bring the brick to the inside of the left foot, again on its tallest setting. Turn the right toes out so you're into warrior two as you lift up. Open out the arms, spread out the fingers, shoulders relax down. Not too much longer to go now, you're doing really, really well. This is not an easy practice today. So bend into that left knee, open out, find some strength, take a deep breath. And here we go, we'll turn the left palm to face up, reach it forwards, and up into reverse warrior. Right hand comes to the back leg. Take a breath in. Exhale, coming forwards again, bring the forearm onto the thigh, right hand up to the ceiling. Extended side angle pose. Now we'll shuffle the back foot in just slightly so you can really ground into that back foot. And then bring left hand, either fingertips or the palm, onto your brick. Open up the chest, so turning your chest to look towards the ceiling, keeping the head nice and soft, no tension around the neck. Breathe here. One more breath. Then bring your hand onto your hip, right hand to the hip, press down into that left foot and pick up the brick as you come up to stand. Nice, so just giving the arms and the legs a little rest for a moment as we prepare for half moon pose on this second side. So we're going to shuffle the back foot in a little bit closer. Nearly lost my balance then. And then bend into this left knee again when you're ready. Bring the brick down and take it about a foot away from you. And then take it just slightly to the left. It's going to help you to not topple backwards when we come up. Then leaning into that brick, start to come onto the left foot, flexing the right foot and lifting it up. Now we think about this same alignment we did in that supported version of plank pose. So we want the hand or the brick to be under the shoulder, reaching back and straightening out that right leg, flexing the foot, and then we lift the right shoulder, we lift the chest. And you can choose to keep the hand on the hip or take it up towards the ceiling, opening the palm. Find your breath. Come down if it's not feeling right, if it's feeling unsafe, especially your lower back. Let's try one more breath if you're still feeling good there. Then bring the right hand back onto the hip, Bend into your left knee and slowly release your right foot down. Leave the brick there as you come up to stand. Phew. Take a deep breath. Shake it out whether that went well or whether you wobbled and fell. And let's take a nice wide forward fold again. So get the feet level, let the toes turn in, hands to the hips, take a breath in. Exhale, folding forwards, just let everything drop. Nice deep breaths. If your hands do come to the ground here, work towards bringing the palms flat with the fingertips pointing forwards, hands as wide as your shoulders. If that's fairly easy, you can then work towards walking the hands back so they're in line with your feet and drawing the crown of your head down towards the ground. Let's stay for 2 more breaths here. Then take your hands back to your hips, slowly lifting your head, coming up to stand. Well done, relax the shoulders. And just gently opening back out to Warrior 2 one last time. Take the arms wide, turn the left toes out and bend that left knee. And then bring the back arm up and over, bringing the hands to the ground, pivot on that back foot. Step through to plank one last time. Inhale. Exhale as you come down to the belly. Point the toes back, come up to cobra when you're ready. Inhale as you lift. Exhale as you lower. And then coming up onto the knees and just coming into a seated position now. We're going to swing the legs around, sit back and stretch the legs out in front. Lean back into your hands and just give your legs a moment to be nice and soft, maybe rocking the feet. Legs and glutes and lower back have worked really hard through this practice, so we're going to give them a little bit of kindness and care now. Okay. And coming to sit up straight, have a little shuffle on the sit bones, get yourself settled, lift up the toes, relax the shoulders down. And then take a bend into the right knee. Cross the right foot over the left. If that doesn't feel great or you can't get the foot straight on the ground, then keep it on the inside instead. Sit nice and tall, bring your right fingertips to the ground just behind you, and then hook the left elbow around your knee, turning towards the right. So sitting tall, keeping the left foot flexed, and turning to the right. As we slow things down now, it's very normal, very common for your mind to start wandering, getting distracted again. So notice if that's happening for you. Try and come back to observing your breath. Let's take one more breath in. And then exhale, gently coming to look forwards again. Uncross that leg, we'll go the other way. Bend the left knee. Sit tall, try crossing the foot over. If that doesn't feel right, keep it on the inside of the leg instead. Keep flexing the right foot as you take the left fingertips to the ground behind you and then wrap the elbow of the right arm around your knee as you sit tall and turn to the left. Relax your jaw now. Soften your forehead. We'll take another breath in and then exhale as you come back to the center. Uncrossing the legs. Now with the heels on the ground, have a nice generous bend of the knees like this. Start to lean forwards, come right onto the front of the sit bones. Take your arms straight up overhead, inhale. Exhale, reaching forwards, taking the hands either onto the feet or the lower legs, and let your head drop down. So you want to feel a nice stretch through the back here, sort of a gentle bent knee version of a forward fold. Really let your head drop here. If your hands do reach your feet like this, you can kind of pull against your feet, so pulling your shoulders back. And see how that feels to stretch out your back. One more deep breath. And releasing the hands, slowly rolling up the spine, coming back up to sit. Okay, we're coming down onto our backs now. So if you're starting to feel cold, if you've got any layers you want to put on, do that first. Socks or jumpers or blankets. And then come back to, or come down onto your back. Get yourself comfortable there. I always like to take my hair out when I come to lay down, just feels more comfy. So anything like that that's going to help you get settled, do that now. Hug your knees to your chest and take a very gentle rock from side to side with the knees. Closing your eyes if that's comfortable to you. And then let your feet come down onto the mat with a little space between them so they're about hip distance apart. Open your arms out wide with the palms facing up, just resting the shoulders, resting the arms. Then keeping your feet glued to the mat where they are, just let your knees fall over to the right. You might need to shuffle your hips over to the left just slightly first. Let your knees fall to the right, but keeping the feet in the same position they were before. I'll show that again in case you didn't catch it the first time. So feet are hip distance apart on the mat. You shuffle the hips over to the left just slightly and then let the knees fall to the right. So just a slightly different twist. Rather than having the knees stacked one on top of the other, we've got them a little bit more separate and spread out. And what you can try here, something you can test out, see how it feels, is then bringing your right foot on top of your left knee like this. Gently pressing that down. You might feel a nice stretch into the left hip, into the IT band on the left side. Some people really like this one, other people it just doesn't seem to make much sense. So don't worry if it doesn't work for you. All of our bodies are wonderfully unique. So leave it out if it's not right for you and stay where you were before. Let's take one more breath here. Big breath in and out. And then releasing that pose, bring the knees back up to the centre. Just repositioning yourself in the centre of the mat with the soles of the feet hip distance apart. Take a breath. And we'll go to the other side, so keeping the feet in position, shuffle the hips over or shift the hips over to the right slightly, and then let the knees fall to the left. See how that feels, relaxing the shoulders. Then maybe you test out picking up the left foot and bringing it over and on top of the right knee or right thigh like this. You can have a little play around with it, see if there's a version of it that feels good for you. If not, forget it and stay where you were before. And returning to the practice of dharana, focused concentration, one of the 8 limbs of yoga. So bringing your focus back to your breath, noticing when your mind drifts and then coming back, bringing your focus back again to the breath. Continually moving through that cycle of noticing when the mind has wandered, and then bringing yourself back. One more breath here. And releasing that pose, so uncrossing the legs, bringing the knees back to center, bringing the hips and the shoulders back to the center of the mat. Hug your knees towards your chest again, maybe lifting your nose this time, squeezing your nose up towards your knees. Take a breath in, exhale to release, let the feet come down to the mat. If you have any final stretches that you'd like to do before we rest, then take as long as you need to do those now. But when you're ready, we're going to move into Shavasana. So you can keep the knees bent if your back prefers that, or you can straighten out the legs with the feet at least hip distance apart. Toes just naturally fall out to the sides. Shuffle your shoulder blades down your back so your neck is nice and long. And let your arms rest out by your sides, turning the palms to face up. Making any other adjustments you need to make to get comfortable. And return our focus inward to the breath. Just breathing easily and comfortably here. Using the breath as an anchor to focus your attention on. As we take this time to soften through the body, to rest in Shavasana. Now, keeping your body relaxed, just take a deeper breath. Start to bring your awareness back to the space that you're in, feeling the ground beneath you, the air around you, and noticing how your body feels as it rests on the mat. I'm going to leave you there to rest a little bit longer. Take your time whenever you feel ready to get up and get moving. Take it slowly, stretch out, move around, take a few more slow, easy breaths before you move on with your day. We'll end by just bringing the palms together in front of the heart. Thank you. Thank you for joining me for this practice, for working hard and listening to your body. I'll see you next time. Take care.